Welcome to Storytime. You are here with Miss Alyssa from the Poquoson Public Library, and I want to welcome you all to Storytime with me today. And this week's theme is fall. So we are now in fall season, and I don't know if you've seen outside, but we have all the gorgeous leaves that are yellow and red and brown and green, so lots of different colors. It's my favorite season, so I am very happy to share a fun story time with some good books and some songs all about fall. All right, so we're gonna get started with our hello song, and this one is Story Time is Starting. It is sung to If You're Happy and You Know It. So we're gonna start Story Time is Starting, so clap your hands. So can you show me how you clap your hands? And then we're gonna do it again, and then we're going to stomp our feet. So can you get up and stomp your feet? Yeah, and then lastly, we're going to shout, hooray! So you can shout as loud as you want, hooray. All right, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Story time is starting, clap your hands. Story time is starting, clap your hands. Story time's begun, I hope that you have fun. Story time is starting, clap your hands. Story time is starting, stomp your feet. Story time is starting, stomp your feet. Story time's begun, I hope that you have fun. Story time is starting, stomp your feet. Story time is starting, shout hooray, hooray! Story time is starting, shout hooray, hooray! Story time's begun, I hope that you have fun. Story time is starting, shout hooray, hooray! Yay! Give yourself a round of applause, and you can go ahead and have a seat. If you stood up to stomp your feet, go ahead and sit back down. So our next rhyme is called Maple Trees. So maple trees, let me see, I have some leaves here that look like maple leaves. So if you see these trees, some of the leaves might be yellow right now, some of them might be red. They are beautiful, but the maple trees, they have lots of leaves on them, and they turn lots of nice colors in fall. So this is a rhyme called Maple Tree. So maple tree, what we're gonna do is maple tree, you grow so tall. So we're gonna stretch our arms out, grow really tall, and then your leaves turn gorgeous colors in the fall. So we're going to flutter our fingers down, just like all the leaves fall from the trees. So remember, we say, you grow so tall, so stretch as tall as you can make yourself a big tree, and then we're going to flutter the leaves down. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Maple tree, you grow so tall, and your leaves turn gorgeous colors in the fall. All right, let's do that again. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Maple tree, you grow so tall, your leaves turn gorgeous colors in the fall. All right. Okay, so our first book that we are going to read today is called Fletcher and the Falling Leaves. And this is written by Julia Rawlinson and illustrated by Tiffany Beek. And we want to thank HarperCollins for giving us permission to read this book today. All right, let's see what leaves you'll find. The world was changing. Each morning, when Fletcher bounded out of the den, everything seemed just a little bit different. The rich green of the forest was turning to a dusty gold, and the soft swishing sound of summer was fading to a crinkly whisper. Fletcher's favorite tree looked dull, dry, and brown. Fletcher was beginning to get worried. Have you stepped on any leaves yet in fall? Outside, do you hear when you step on them, they go crunch, crunch, crunch? I like that sound. I think my tree is sick, said Fletcher. What's wrong with it? His mother asked. Its leaves are turning brown, said Fletcher. Oh, don't worry, it's only autumn, she said. Fletcher ran back to his tree and patted the rough bark. Don't worry, it's only autumn, he said. You'll be feeling better soon. But the tree didn't get better. Each day, more leaves turned brown. One morning, the wind blew a small brown leaf off of a branch. Fletcher jumped up and caught it very gently in his paw. There's the little leaf. It fell off of the branch. Don't worry, tree. I've got your leaf. I'll fix you. Fletcher looked around, picked a piece of grass, and carefully tied the leaf to a branch. Just then, another gust of wind ruffled Fletcher's fur. The little leaf shook itself free and fluttered back to the ground. Fletcher picked it up again and thought very hard. Then he poked the leaf onto a twig and pushed it down firmly. Now, you hold on tight, said Fletcher. No more flying around. The little leaf gave a tiny rustle in reply. The next day, a strong wind was blowing through the forest. Fletcher rushed out of the den and ran all the way to his tree. Lots of branches were bare and little lost leaves spun everywhere. Don't worry, tree, I'll catch them for you, I promise. Round and round and round whirled Fletcher after the swirling leaves. Do you think he'll be able to catch them all? It looks like a lot of leaves. Leaves! Wonderful! Just what I need for my nest, said a squirrel. But these belong to the tree, said Fletcher. Don't take them away. The tree doesn't need them anymore, said the squirrel, bounding off. Help! Help! The wind and the squirrel are stealing our leaves, cried Fletcher. Oh, leaves! Terrific! Just what I needed to keep warm, said a porcupine rolling around. But these belong to the tree, said Fletcher, plucking leaves from the porcupine's needles. Not anymore, snuffled the porcupine, and away he rolled. Help! Help! The wind, the squirrel, and the porcupine are stealing our leaves, cried Fletcher. Suddenly, a flock of friendly birds swooped down from the sky. They picked up the leaves in their beaks and poked them into the tree's branches. Soon the tree was leafy again, and Fletcher flopped down and smiled. Thank you, birds, thank you, he gasped as the birds fluttered away. He lay looking up through the leaves at the sky and drifted off to sleep. But the wind continued to blow and the branches still danced. The leaves shivered and shook themselves and began to wiggle free. They tossed and turned and twitched and twirled and tumbled to the ground. They brushed Fletcher's ears and nose and filled his dreams with a whispering sound. When Fletcher finally woke up, he couldn't believe his eyes. Instead of a roof of dancing leaves, all he could see were bare branches against the sky. Oh, tree, I'm so sorry. All your leaves are gone. But then he saw high in the branches one small leaf still holding on. Do you see the little small leaf? I won't let the wind steal that one, said Fletcher, and he began to climb. He crawled along to the last leaf and held it firmly onto its branch. All day long the wind blew, the branch bounced, and Fletcher held tight. I'll stay with you, leaf, he said. Don't worry. But then, with a sudden whoosh of the wind, the branch bounced high. With a plop, the leaf let go and fluttered like a little fly clutched in Fletcher's paw. Fletcher looked sadly at the leaf he had promised to save. He carried it carefully down the tree and back to the den. He made a cozy little bed for it and gently tucked it in. But all night long he could only think of his tree all on its own. At dawn, Fletcher tiptoed outside. The wind had finally stopped blowing and the air was cold. The moon still hung in the clear sky and pale stars glimmered. As he came to his favorite tree, Fletcher saw a magical sight. What do you think Fletcher is going to see? So it's cold now, and I think there's some dew, so... Look at that! The tree was hung with 1,000 icicles, shining silver in the early light. You are more beautiful than ever, whispered Fletcher. But are you all right? A tiny breeze shivered the branches, making a sound like laughter, and in the light of the rising sun, the sparkling branches nodded. Fletcher gave his tree a hug. Then he went back to the den for a nice warm breakfast. The end. So the tree lost its leaves, but it has some beautiful icicles now, and they shimmer. I don't know if you can see, there's some glitter on the tree. All right, so that was Fletcher and the Falling Leaves. So that's a nice story. Fletcher really cared about his tree, but he didn't understand that it's okay for trees to lose their leaves because they'll get them back when it's springtime. All right, so our next rhyme is pumpkin, pumpkin. So you also see a lot of pumpkins now. I hope you have some pumpkins for your front porch or your door, or if you just see pumpkins out when you're going to the grocery store or to a pumpkin patch. They have lots of different colors and sizes and shapes. I love all the pumpkins. I love collecting all the pumpkins. So this one is pumpkin, pumpkin. So our actions are, so pumpkin, pumpkin on the ground. So we're going to touch the ground. So if you can touch down to your toes maybe. And then how'd you get so big and round? So we're gonna make a big circle. So can you make a big circle in front of you? Once you were a seed so small, so let's make little pinching fingers and we can show how small the seeds were. Now you are a great big ball. So we're going to put a circle over our heads. And then we're gonna say again, pumpkin, pumpkin on the ground. So touch your toes again. How'd you get so big and round? All right, so you ready to do this one? All right, 1, 2, 3. Pumpkin, pumpkin on the ground. How'd you get so big and round? Once you were a seed so small, now you are a great big ball. Pumpkin, pumpkin on the ground. How'd you get so big and round? All right. So maybe if you see a really big pumpkin, you can measure it. You can hug around it and then see how big your arms are around it. Maybe you can find a really big one. All right, so what we're gonna do next is 5 little leaves. So I have 5 little leaves that I am going to stick to my fingers. All right, and we have a little rhyme that goes with this, and we're going to count down. So hopefully I can get all of the little leaves on here. So remember, some of these are maple leaves. I think this one's a maple leaf. And I think this one's a maple leaf too. All right, so we have our leaves and we're going to see what happens if a wind comes and blows them by. All right, 5 little leaves in the tall, tall tree, as bright and pretty as they can be. Along came a wind, whoo, blowing all around, and one bright leaf fell to the ground. Uh-oh, I think more are trying to fall off. All right, so now we have one. Uh-oh, let me get my leaves back on. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 little leaves in the tall, tall tree, as bright and pretty as they can be. Along came a wind, blowing all around, and one bright leaf fell to the ground. Uh-oh, how many do we have now? 3 little leaves in the tall, tall tree, as bright and pretty as they can be. Along came a wind, blowing all around, and one bright leaf fell to the ground. Uh-oh, how many are left? 1, 2. 2 little leaves in the tall, tall tree, as bright and pretty as they can be. Along came the wind, blowing all around, and one bright leaf fell to the ground. Uh-oh, We have only one left. One little leaf in the tall, tall tree, as bright and pretty as it can be. Along came a wind blowing all around, and one bright leaf fell to the ground. All right, now I have leaves all around me. That was 5 little leaves. So if you want to do that one again at home, maybe you can find some leaves outside, go collect 5 leaves, and then you can do this rhyme again at home. Alrighty, so we're gonna read one more story, and this one is called In the Middle of Fall. This is written by Kevin Henkes and illustrated by Laura Dronzik. And we want to thank HarperCollins again for giving us permission to read this book. All right. What is this animal right here? Do you know what it is? I see so many of them outside right now because I think they're collecting acorns. Those are squirrels. Yeah. Oh yeah, see? There are some acorns right there. In the middle of fall, when the leaves have already turned, and the sky is mostly gray, and the air is chilly, and the squirrels are frisky. How many do you see? 1, 2, 3 squirrels. And the gardens are brown, and the pumpkins are ready. Lots of pumpkins, huh? And the apples are like ornaments. It takes just one big gust of wind, and all at once, everything is yellow and red and orange. Look at all those colors. All over, all around. Right in the middle of fall. But remember, because soon the yellow and red and orange will be gone. Remember, all the leaves fall from the trees as the tree prepares for winter. The sky will change again. And then soon, very soon, the sky will be white and empty, ready to fill up with snow. Look at all the snowflakes. That's the fun part of winter, huh? Seeing all the snow come down from the sky. All right, that was a nice short and sweet book. This one's In the Middle of Fall. And that concludes our story time. So I hope you enjoyed this fall story time with me. And I hope you go outside and enjoy the beautiful weather and look at all the leaves and the trees and the apples and the pumpkins and the squirrels all around. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and sing our goodbye song. And this one is Our Hands Say Thank You. So we get our hands ready. So our hands are going to say thank you with a clap, clap, clap. Our feet are going to say thank you with a tap, tap, tap. Clap, 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 tap, tap, tap. Now we roll our hands and wave goodbye. All right, you ready to do this one? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Our hands say thank you with a clap, clap, clap. Our feet say thank you with a tap, tap, tap. Clap, clap, clap. Tap, tap, tap. Now we roll our hands and wave goodbye. Thank you all so much again for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.